This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning to all. So, not responding.
ಇದೈತೆ
ಶುರುವಾಗುದಲ್ಲ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್?
ಹೌದು.
Good morning to all. Can you hear me? Somebody please confirm you are able to hear me.
Good morning, ma'am.
Roll number 46, you are able to hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to hear me? Please confirm somebody.
Yes, ma'am. We are able to hear.
Roll number 13.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
13, you are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Seventeen, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Roll number 43. Roll number 43, you are able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Are you able to hear me? Hello, sir. ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೋತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಬರಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ ಸರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಸಡನ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದಾಯ್ತು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಕ್ಲಾಸು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್ ಸರ್ ನಾಳೆ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಓಕೆ ಎಸ್ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್ Somebody please confirm, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Can anybody please confirm roll number 31? 31, are you there? Somebody please confirm. Anyone. Are you hearing or not?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Good morning to all. So we'll study two important drugs today, Lavanga and Lodhra. Okay, so before that I had given two assignments yesterday. So the first one was regarding Corimb inflorescence and the second one regarding Puranagrata. Has anybody gone through these two things? Anyone? Okay, we'll see at the end of the class. So today we'll study Lavanga and Lodhra. Okay, so the first drug Lavanga, this is a very famous drug. You all know regarding this. It is Syzygium cumini belonging to the family Myrtaceae. Okay, the same family as Jambu. Jambu also belongs to the same family. In Hindi it is called Laung. In Telugu, it is called as Lavangamu. Kannada, it is called Lavanga. Marathi, Lavang. And in Tamil, it is called Kirambu. And in English, it is called as clove. Okay. So, when coming to the synonyms, with respect to its therapeutic action, it is having the synonym Grahani Hara. Grahani is a Agni Doshaja Vyadhi. So, Lavanga, because of its Dipana Pachana properties, it is very good in Grahani Roga. So, it is having the synonym Grahani Hara. Then Divya Gandha, because of its aromatic smell, very pleasing aromatic smell. Then Deva Kusuma, because it is said to be auspicious, it is good looking and it is also having a very good aroma. Okay. Varija, because it grows in moist lands. Then Shri Prasunaka, Shri Sanyaka, Shri, all these synonyms indicate the auspicious nature of the plant. And Chandana Pushpa, because maybe because it has a very pleasing aromatic smell. Otherwise, it is not having any resemblance with the Pushpa of Chandana. Before last class itself, we have studied Chandana. So this Lavanga is not having any morphological resemblance with Chandana Pushpa, maybe because of the aromatic smell it has been likened to Chandana Pushpa. Okay. Then when we see the classification in Gana, Lavanga has not been mentioned by Bruhatrais in any of the Ganas. Okay, this is very important to note. So some drugs, so far we have studied two or three drugs which have not been mentioned in any of the Gana. So one such was Kala Megha. Okay, that was not mentioned in any of the Ganas. And this Lavanga is also not mentioned in any of the Ganas by Bruhatrais. Then if you go through Bruhatrais, mentioning of Lavanga is relatively very less. Maybe around, if you see all throughout the scripture, around 10 times Lavanga has been mentioned. Compared to other drugs which have been mentioned hundreds and thousand times, Lavanga has been mentioned very less in Bruhatrais. Okay, especially in Yoga Granthas, we come across the utility of Lavanga. Because Lavanga, as I told you, it is a very good Dipana Pachana drug. So in yoga also they have the principle of Agni and treating the Agni. Okay, so Lavanga, we come across a reference of Lavanga in Yoga Granthas and very less in Bruhatrais. Okay, so then the main use of Lavanga is for the correction of digestive problems because of its Dipana Pachana property. And apart from digestive problems, it is also used in respiratory problems like Shwasa, Kasa, then Hikka. It is very good in Visha and it is indicated in Netra Rogas also. Then because of its aromatic property, it is indicated in Chardi also. Okay. Then most commonly it is used for the treatment of dental caries and gingivitis. Okay, so even in household also we have a practice of holding a piece of lavanga in between the teeth when we have toothache, isn't it? So it is a general practice. If somebody is having toothache in your home, you just say hold a piece of lavanga in between your teeth, so that relieves pain. Okay, so the main use of lavanga is in these areas: digestive problems, hika shwasa, that is respiratory problems, chardi, netra roga, visha roga, and danta roga, dental caries and gingivitis. It is also used externally to relieve pain. So lavanga taila, we extract taila or oil from lavanga, and this is used externally for application. Okay, then it is being adulterated with other species of Syzygium and Cinnamomum buds nowadays. So when you go to the market to buy lavanga, so you find that the genuine lavanga is not available, so it is being adulterated with other species of Syzygium and even with Cinnamomum buds. Okay, so that is about the history. Now coming to the lavanga plant, you can see it is an evergreen plant, evergreen tree, It grows to a medium height, and the leaves are ovate, oblong, and glabrous, very shiny. Okay, and if you crush the leaves and smell it, you will get a very good sweet aroma. And if you just see the back side of the leaf, you will find small dots. So that is called gland dot. Okay, all the members of Myrtaceae, they usually are gland dotted. You can even see the back surface of jambu leaf. So jambu leaf, if you just invert the leaf, see the back surface, hold it against light, you will find small dots on the back surface. So that those are called as gland dots. Okay, so in lavanga also you will find gland dots. Another family wherein you can find gland dots are Rutaceae, the Nimbuka family. So in that also, if you see the back surface of the leaf, gland dots can be seen. Okay, so the leaves are ovate, oblong, and the apex is acute, and the leaves are very glabrous. They have a very smooth surface, and they are also shiny. You can appreciate in the pictures. Okay, and then you can see the inflorescence also. It comes in clusters. Okay, so in the picture you can see the buds which are in clusters, and initially the buds will be light green in color, and when they mature they turn to pink in color. Okay, so the mature buds will be pink in color. Now you can see in the first picture the bud and the flower. Okay, so the usually lavanga you have to collect in bud condition before the inflorescence blooms, before the flower blooms. So when the buds turn into pink in color, at that time the buds have to be collected. Okay, so that is mature buds. Once you collect the mature buds which are pink in color, you have to dry them in shade, not in sun. You have to dry them in shade, and after drying it turns black in color or brownish black in color. Okay, so this is regarding morphology. So it is an evergreen tree which grows to a height of 9 to 12 meter. It is not a very big tree. It is a medium sized tree. The leaves are ovate, oblong, acute at both ends. So this is another important factor. So if you can see, in the leaf is acute at both ends, at the apex and also at the base. Okay, then gland dotted, as I explained to you. So you can see gland dots on the back surface of the leaf, and the leaves are also fragrant. Flower buds are borne in terminal small clusters of branches, greenish, pink at maturity, and aromatic. So the buds are also very aromatic. Fruits, fleshy dark pink drupes. So the fruit here is a drupe. Drupe is a fruit which develops from a monocarpellary unilocular ovary, and it contains a single seed. For example, mango. Mango is the best example for a drupe. So similarly in lavanga also the fruit is a drupe which is fleshy dark pink in color. Seeds are oblong, grooved on one side, and distribution wise, so lavanga is cultivated in southern part of India, especially in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So that is the habitat for lavanga. Now coming to the properties of lavanga, it is having tikta katurasa, laghu snigdha guna, shita virya, and katu vipak. Okay, so doshagnata wise, it is a very good kapha pitta hara. So that is why it is having applicability in digestive as well as respiratory problems because of its kapha pitta hara property. Okay, and karma, it, as I told you, it is a very good deepana pachana drug. It is also ruchya. That is why it can be given in ama vikaras and chardi. Okay, so in Amavikara, what happens? The patient loses taste because of predominance of Ama. So that is why you can apply Ruchya Dravyas, which will improve the taste. Even in Chardi, so it is a nauseating feeling prior to chardi. So prior to vomiting, there is a feeling of nausea. So at that time, I mean, you feel very sick, isn't it? So at that time, if you hold an aromatic drug in your mouth, for example, this lavanga, or you can just smell nimbuka. So the aromatic principles, they soothe the parasympathetic nervous system and they prevent the irritation. Okay, so because of that, the vomiting will be prevented. So that is why it is a good chardigna dravya, and this is also good chakshushya. Lavanga can be used for the treatment of eye disorders also. Indications. So as per the karma, it can be used in the treatment of trishna, chardi, admana, then shula, kasa, shvasa, hika, and kshaya. Okay, so kshaya here, there is an important formulation mentioned in the treatment of kshaya, which we generally use for the treatment of kasa, shvasa. So that is sitopaladi churna. Okay, so you must be knowing the ingredients of sitopaladi churna. It is very simple. Sita, Vamshalochana, Pippali, Ela, and Tvak. Okay. So in that also, sorry, it's not Sitopaladi, it's Tali Sadi Churna, wherein you add this Lavanga. Okay. So Kshaya along with Kasa Shvasa is an important indication for Lavanga. Now coming to Amayika Prayoga. In Vatarthi is pain due to Vata. Okay, so here what you can do is lavanga should be pounded and applied with warm water externally. So if there is any pain in the localized area, especially in case of headache or joint pain, where you want to relieve the pain, there is acute pain and you want instant relief, you can just powder some lavanga, mix it in water and apply it externally. So this will produce an irritant effect and the pain will be relieved. Okay. Similarly, shunti powder also can be used in case of headache. Shunti powder or shunti triturated with water can be applied on the forehead, so that will relieve headache. Okay, so in this way lavanga can be used externally in case of pain disorders. Then in Visuchika, water boiled with lavanga filtered and given internally. So we see Visuchika again, as we saw yesterday in one case. So Visuchika is taken as cholera. Okay, so yesterday we studied Kupilu in case of Visuchika. Kupilu, Hingu and Navasagara combination made into pills and given internally in case of Visuchika. Similarly, Lavanga is another drug which can be used in Visuchika. Not just Visuchika, in many of the viral fevers, viral conditions, Lavanga can be a very good drug. I'll tell you one example wherein a girl aged 5-6 years, she was getting fever and it was not getting controlled. So the fever had become chronic. So with antipyretics, it used to come down, but again it used to raise. Okay. So for that child, we administered a lavanga powder with honey, and just with 2 doses, her fever came into control. So in many of the viral fevers where antipyretics or antibiotics or any other medications may not act, lavanga can be a very useful remedy. Okay, and it has been also proved for its antiviral action. Right. So in Visuchika and in many of the viral conditions also, lavanga can be used. Then in Trishna, fresh juice of lavanga can be useful. Okay, internally. And apart from this, as I told you, in chardi, lavanga powder or just a single lavanga can be kept in mouth, and this will prevent the uneasy feeling, nauseating feeling, and it will prevent chardi. And even in dental pain, toothache or gingivitis, inflammation of the gums, so in all these conditions, either lavanga powder or lavanga as it is can be kept inside the mouth. In between, you can just press the lavanga in between your teeth. So slowly the oil will be, volatile oil or essential oil will be released, and this will suppress the pain, because this oil is having an analgesic and anesthetic activity. So because of these two actions, it will relieve the pain. Okay. Even lavanga taila, the oil extracted from lavanga, can be used for external application in case of joint pains, so that it will relieve the pain immediately because of its analgesic and anesthetic action. So these are the Amayika Prayoga of Lavanga. So when you speak of Lavanga, you should most importantly remember Lavanga in application of Lavanga in pain. Okay. One thing is, it can be powdered mixed with jala and applied externally in case of headache and joint pains, or even Lavanga Taila can be applied externally in case of joint pains. Then in Visuchika, you have to boil the water with lavanga and give it internally. In viral fevers, the powder can be mixed with honey and given internally. In Trishna and Chardi, lavanga powder or juice of lavanga or just lavanga can be kept inside your mouth, so that it will relieve the problem. So these are main Amayika Prayoga of lavanga. So lavanga, though it is not used, independently lavanga as such is used very less. But lavanga is the most important ingredient in many of the formulations, okay, which are used in Kasa Shwasa. And even in household, we use lavanga as a spice, isn't it? And actually, if you have heard of herbal tea, if you go towards the Malnad region of Karnataka, towards north part of Karnataka, Uttar Kannada and all, there is a practice of having herbal tea daily. Instead of tea, coffee, they have a herbal tea. Okay. So in that herbal tea, lavanga is an important ingredient. They mix different spices in that. They mix coriander seeds, cumin seeds, then lavanga, yashti madu, then this ela. Okay, so all these are the common ingredients of that herbal tea, right? So in that way, lavanga is having a particular role in enhancing your immunity, right? So even in this situation of emergency of COVID-19, you can actually prepare a herbal tea at your own home, so that your immunity will be raised. Okay, so it will be a good practice. Instead of having coffee and tea frequently, you can just have herbal tea. It is actually very refreshing. You can just try. Okay, coming to the parts used, the most important part used is the floral bud. So apart from that, the oil extracted from the bud is also used. So flower bud and oil are the useful parts. Then the dosage of powder is just 1 to 2 grams. Lavanga powder you have to use in the dosage of 1 to 2 grams, and oil can be used in the dosage of 1 to 2 drops. Okay. Then coming to the formulations, so lavanga is used in the preparation of some important formulations. The most important are lavangadivati and khadiradivati. So these two are having practical application in case of kasa, especially kapha kasa. Okay, so if somebody is having kasa along with sputum, you can tell them to chew a tablet of lavangadivati or khadiradivati. Okay, so the tablet it will be in the form of a small pill. So that pill can be just kept in the mouth, and whatever flavors or juices are released from that pill, that need to be swallowed. Okay, so that gives a what you call the active principles will be slowly released, and they will be continuously acting on the throat and the respiratory tract. So that gives relief from cough. And as we all know, in Shwasakasa, the Aushadha Sevana Kala is Muhurmuhu. So even if you are giving any churna or lehya or syrup, it has to be given again and again in between. and not related with food. So instead of that, if you suggest the patient to just keep a pill of lavangadi or khadiradi vati in mouth, so that will help a lot. Even in some patients who get lot of cough in night time, as soon as they lie down to sleep, they will get cough, and because of that cough they are not able to sleep well. So in that case, you can suggest the patient to keep a lavangadi vati or khadiradi vati in mouth just before going to sleep. So that gives an undisturbed sleep to the patient. So he will not get bouts of cough during night time. Okay, so in that way lavangadi vati will be very helpful. Then another most important formulation prepared from lavanga is avipattikara churna. Okay, so avipattikara churna has got very good practical application in case of digestive disorders, indigestion, or even in case of hyperacidity and admana, bloating sensation in abdomen, even in constipation. So avipattikara will act as a anulomaka. Okay, so in these cases avipattikara churna can be used. You can also mix avipattikara with kamaduga sudshekara, so that will make a very good combination, and it will help to treat a pitta vikara very well. Antacids, it will act as a very good antacid. Then Deva Kusuma Arka. Deva Kusuma is a synonym of lavanga, and Arka, you know, it is a distilled preparation prepared from lavanga. Okay, so basically, when you distill a drug, all the volatile oils or essential oils present in drug extract. So that extract is basically containing the volatile principles. So the dose will be 1 to 2 drops, and it can be given directly. Okay, especially in case of children, this arka preparations will be very useful because the dose will be less and the action will be very instant. Usually when you give a medication in alcohol form, with alcohol as a base, it will be readily absorbed from the stomach itself. It doesn't it doesn't have to undergo digestion throughout. You don't have to reach the intestine and then get absorbed and then go into the bloodstream. It can be directly absorbed from the stomach. So that is the advantage of giving medicine with alcohol as a base. Okay, so arka preparation usually it is a distilled preparation using an alcohol or hydroalcohol, so it will act very instantly. Then lavangadi churna, again it is good in cough, kasa. Coming to the chemical constituents, so most important chemical constituents are beta carotenoid, methyl alcohol, methyl benzoate, vanillin, eugenin, naphthalene, and caryophyllene oxide. So all these are volatile principles. Actually, this eugenol, it is present even in jambu, which belongs to the same family Myrtaceae. It is a common ingredient in Syzygium members, Syzygium family members. So these are the active principles or active chemical constituents present in the drug lavanga. Then coming to the research updates. So eugenin, one of the volatile principles present in lavanga, it showed antiviral action against herpes simplex. So as I told you earlier, lavanga is having antiviral action. So here what they have explored the antiviral action of eugenin isolated from lavanga against herpes simplex virus, and it has been found to be effective against herpes simplex. So herpes simplex again is a viral condition wherein allopathy has no answer. So they have only one antiviral drug which might act in this case, but otherwise the main aim should be to relieve the burning sensation and pain in the patient and to increase the immunity of the patient. So lavanga will act well in this condition. Then the extract of leaves from lavanga they have proved to be having anti-inflammatory activity, especially against acute inflammation. This was studied in rats where they injected something called carrageenan to the rat point that produced inflammation. So after that, they gave the lavanga extract and they found that acute inflammation can be controlled by lavanga. Okay. Then beta caryophyllene, another active constituent separated from lavanga, along with other principles, inhibited chemical carcinogenesis and showed potent anti-carcinogenic activity. So lavanga is also having anti-carcinogen activity. Then it is used in processing and preservation of food to increase the shelf life of the food products. So if you might have observed in your households, your mother or grandmother, they have a practice of keeping some lavanga in the boxes wherein they keep this rice or sugar, or even in jaggery or tur dal. So in big boxes, they store these rice and other commodities. So in that box, they have a practice of keeping some 4 or 5 lavanga. So this lavanga, it has antibacterial, bactericidal and fungicidal activity. So because of that activity, it will prevent the food grains from getting denatured of the food commodities or food grains. So it will act as a preservative, right? So because of that, it is used in the processing and preservation of food, and also to increase the shelf life of the product. So even when you prepare what you call juice pulps, for example, when there is a season of this nimbuka, lemon, so you have lemon, lot of lemon in the market, so you bring 2 kgs of lemon, you extract the juice of this lemon and you add sugar and you boil it. Okay, so you prepare a syrup of lemon, and to that if you add lavanga powder and bottle it and keep it, so this lavanga powder will act as a preservative. It will help, it will prevent the decay of the juice which you have prepared. Okay, so it is called syrup, right? So this syrup will be very thick in consistency and concentrated. So this you can, whenever needed, you can just take 2 tablespoons of this syrup, add lot of water, and make an instant juice of that. So in that way, lavanga will act as a preservative, and it will increase the shelf life. Then clove oil, which is extracted from the dried buds of lavanga, they are proved to be having analgesic activity. This I told you earlier. So because of this activity, it is used in different types of pains as external application, like joint pain and toothache. So any vataja pain disorder, so it can be used for external application, clove oil. Then eugenol, another important phytoconstituent which is present. It is a actually a phenolic compound. Okay, so this is naturally occurring in this lavanga, and it is a naturally occurring antioxidant, and it prevents the food from getting rancid. So it will prevent the rancidity of food. It will prevent the food from becoming stale. Okay, so along with that, it is also having bactericidal and fungicidal properties. So because of that, lavanga is a very good preservative. So we know that from ancient time, people have been using lavanga as a spice and also as a preservative. So people some way had assessed this property, but now the scientists, because of the advanced technology, they have proven the bactericidal and fungicidal activity of lavanga. Then, so that completes the details regarding lavanga. So anybody is having any doubt regarding lavanga? We'll move to the next drug, that is Lodra. Okay, Lodra is another important drug which is practically very useful in treating female reproductive disorders. Okay, so there are some formulations which are commonly used for treating female reproductive tract disorders, especially the symptoms like leukorrhea, metromenorrhagia, that is Shvetapradara, Raktapradara. In such cases, Lodra is a savior, a drug which is a savior. And Lodra is also having its applicability in many of the eye disorders for external treatment and also internal. Okay. So the botanical name of Lodra is Symplochus racemosa. It belongs to the family Symplocaceae. If you see the regional names or vernacular names, almost in all the languages it is called as Lodra itself. Hindi it is called Lodra, Telugu it is called Lodduga, Tamil it is called Belli Lotti, Malayalam Pachoti. In Kannada it is called Pachettu or Lodra Chakke. In some parts it is called as Lodra Chakke. Then Marathi it is called Lodra, Bengali and Gujarati also it is called as Lodra. In English it is called as Symplochus tree or Lodh tree. Okay, coming to the synonyms. So the first and the foremost synonym is it is very important from practical view or therapeutic point of view. It is having the synonym Akshi Bhaishajya. So this indicates the use of Lodra in eye disorders. Akshi Bhaishajya. In many of the Akshi Rogas or Netra Rogas, Lodra has very important therapeutic value. So the synonym Akshi Bhaishajya. Then Nayam Aushadha. Naya means soft, smooth. So it is a medicine which is soft or smooth. Okay, maybe because of its properties, it has been given this synonym. Then Tilvaka, Tirita. So these are some of the synonyms which have been mentioned in the classics. Okay. Then Kandahina. So Kandahina, Kanda means stem. So it is a tree which is said to be having no stem. Okay. Bhilli, Rodra. Actually in Vagbata and Sushruta it has been mentioned as Rodra. In Charaka it has been mentioned as Lodra. Sthula Valkala, because the tvak, that is the bark which is the useful part, is very thick. So the name Sthula Valkala. Then Shavaraka, Shambara, all these indicate the thickness of the stem bark. Okay, Hasti Lodraka, again Hasti means elephant. So that indicates the thickness of the bark, which is the useful part. Then coming to the ganas. So if you see the ganas, that Lodra by Acharya Charaka has been mentioned in Shonita Sthapana, Sandhaniya and Purisha Sangrahaniya Gana and also Kashaya Skandha Gana. So this by seeing this Gana, you can easily assess the properties of Lodra. So it is predominant of Kashaya Rasa. So the most important action of Kashaya Rasa is Stambhana. So in all conditions where Stambhana action is needed, Lodra can be the drug of choice. It is mentioned as Shonita Sthapana. So it can be used for Rakta Stambhana. And it is mentioned as Purisha Sangrahaniya. So it can be used in Atisara and Pravahika. Then Sandhaniya again indicates the healing property. So in not directly in Bhagna Sandhana, but mainly Sandhana action will help in Atisara. Okay, Atisara and Pravahika type of conditions. Sushruta Acharya has mentioned it in Lodradi and Negrodradi Gana. Vagbata has mentioned it in Rodradi and Negrodradi. Now coming to the history. So in Rigveda, Lodha has been described. Lodha. It has been described as Lodha. Okay. Then probably the bark, which is red in color, is the reason for the later commentators describing this tree as Raktavalkala or Raktavarna. Okay. So initially it has been mentioned just as Lodha, but the commentators of later period, they have described it as Raktavarna, maybe because of the bark which is reddish in color external. Okay. Then Charaka has used the term Rodra and mentioned it for Grahi and Sandhana actions. Sushruta and Vagbhatacharyas have mentioned two types of Lodra. One is Rodra and other one is Shweta Rodra. Okay, so basically Lodra is of two types. One is Rakta type, Rakta variety, which is called Rakta Valkala, and the second one is Shweta variety, which is called Shweta Lodra. It is also called as Shabaraka Lodra. Okay. Then Vagbhatacharya specifically mentioned the white variety of Rodra for the treatment of eye. So among these two types, Rakta and white Shweta variety, the Shweta variety is said to be very useful in eye disorders, whereas Rakta variety is said to be useful as a Stambhaka in bleeding disorders and in Atisara and Prawahi. So depending on the color, you have to decide. If you have white Lodra, it is good for eye disorders. If you have red Lodra, Rakta variety, it is good for bleeding disorders, Rakta Pradara, Shweta Pradara, then Atisara, Pravahika, and all those diseases wherein Stambhana action is needed. Then coming to the morphology. So this is the Lodra plant. You can see the leaf. It is oblong. Then the margins you can see it is minutely serrated. Okay, and the flowers also white in color. So here in this slide you can see the fruit and also the bark. So the bark, the one which you can see horizontally kept, so that shows the external surface of the bark, which is reddish in color, and those which have been kept vertically below, they are showing the white color, that is the inner surface of the bark. Okay, so that is Lodra bark. Morphology. Lodra is a medium-sized tree. It grows to a height of 6 meters. Okay, it is a small, medium-sized tree. The bark is dark gray and rough. Okay, the leaves are elliptic, oblong, acute, glabrous above and pubescent beneath. The flowers are white to whitish yellow in color in simple axillary racemes. Okay, and here you can see, so it is a racemose inflorescence, and you can also see the bracts. So presence of bracts is seen in case of Lodra, so that which was a feature of acanthaceae, which we had studied in last class. Then fruit is a drupe, which is small purplish black in color. So here in first picture you can see the drupe, fruit which is a drupe. Here it is greenish in color, so when mature it turns dark purplish black in color. Distribution wise, the habitat of Lodra is northeast India from Terai of Kumaon to Assam and Chotanagpur. So the northeast region of India is the natural habitat for Lodra. Coming to the properties, Lodra is having Kashaya and Tiktarasa, and it is having Laghu Ruksha Guna, Shita Virya and Katuvipak. So all these properties are towards Stambhana action. So you have already studied the difference between Grahi and Stambhana, isn't it? Grahi is Ushna Grahi. So the Dravyas having Grahi property, they are Ushna Virya Dravyas. They do Amapachana, and they do then after doing Amapachana, they do the Stambhana. Whereas Stambhana Dravyas, they are Shita Virya Dravyas, Kashaya Rasa Dravyas, isn't it? They do not do Amapachana, they directly do Stambhana. Okay, Grahi Dravyas are predominant of Ushna Guna, whereas Stambhana Dravyas are predominant of Shita Guna, right? And Shita and Ruksha. That is why they have the ability to do Drava Shoshana and Stambhana. Okay, so that is the basic difference between Grahi and Stambhana. Now, Lodra is an example for Stambhana because it is having Kashaya Rasa, Ruksha Guna, Laghu Guna, Shita Virya. Okay, so all these properties are with respect to Stambhana property. Doshaknata, it is Kapha Pittara, and Karma, it is Grahi. Grahi, actually it is Stambhana, not Grahi, it is Stambhana. Then Sandhaniya and Chakshusya. Okay, Then indications, so depending on its karma, it is used in Pradara. Then Pradara is both Shweta Pradara and Rakta Pradara. Then Rakta Pitta, Pravahika, Atisara, Netra Roga, Jwara, Shodha and Pushta. So main application of Lodra will be in Shweta Pradara and Rakta Pradara. That is the first and the foremost thing. Second is Atisara and Pravahika. Third is Rakta Pitta. Then fourth is Netra Roga. So whenever you come across Lodra or whenever you think of Lodra, these main applications should come to your mind. First is this Rakta Pradara and Shweta Pradara, the female reproductive tract disorders. Second is as Stambhaka, it can be used in Atisara and Pravahika. Third, Rakta Stambhaka action, so it can be used in Rakta Pitta. And the fourth one, it is a very good drug for Netra Rogas. So these four applications of Lodra you should keep in mind always. And practically also Lodra is very commonly used, especially in Pradara type of disorders. Lodra Asava is there, Lodra Churna is there. So these things are used frequently. Okay. Then Amaika Prayoga. So in Pradara, the Kashaya of Nyagrodha Tvak with Lodra Churna is given internally. Okay, so both of the drugs mentioned here are having Kashaya Rasa. Nyagrodha also, it is the Kashaya Rasa Dravya. It is the coming under Mutra Sangrahaniya Gana, and it is one among the Panchavalkalas. Nyagrodha, Udumbra, Ashwata, Plaksha, Parisha. This Gana, you know, it is Panchavalkala Gana. And all these Panchavalkalas, they have Kasharasa predominance, they have Stambhana action, and their Vrana Shodhana and Vrana Ropana action is there. Okay, so Nagrodhatvak along with Lodratva. Here you are preparing Kashaya of Nagrodhatva, so that you are adding Lodra powder, Lodra Churna, and this can be given internally in case of Pradara. Okay, so then in Pravahika, Lodratvak Churna should be mixed with Dadhi and given internally. So that is said to be very useful in case of Pravahika. Then in Pushta, Lodratvak paste should be used externally. Okay, so actually use of Lodra in Pushta is very rare, very less. Most importantly, you have to remember usage of Lodra in case of Atisara Pravahika and in case of Pradara, Shweta Pradara and Rakta Pradara. Okay, so those are the important Amayika Prayogas for Lodra. Then coming to the parts used, Tvak and Pushpa are the parts used. Most importantly, Tvak, the stem bark is used in case of Lodra. Then the Churna dosage is 1 to 5 grams. Okay, because it is having lot of Kashaya Rasa, the dosage is less. Otherwise, Churna is usually used in the dosage of 12 grams, 10 to 12 grams. Then if you are using Kashaya, the dosage will be 50 to 100 ml. Most important formulations of Lodra are Lodrasava, Lodrabi, Kashaya. Okay, here Lodrasava is the most importantly used formulation. In Pradara Vikaras, in Shweta Pradara, Rakta Pradara, you can combine Lodrasava with Ashokarishta. If there is pain predominance, Lodrasava with Ashokarishta can be given, especially in case of white discharge with pain or metromenoregia with pain. Okay, in such conditions, Ashokarishta with Lodrasava can be given. If the patient is very anemic, you can add Lohasava. With Lodrasava, you can add Lohasava. Okay, so or else Lodra powder can be given with rice washed water, what you call as Tandulodaka. So you know how to prepare Tandulodaka. You have, when you are washing the rice, the first time the water used to wash the rice for first time, it should be discarded. The second time you wash the rice and that water should be collected. So that is called Tandulodaka. To that you have to add this lodra powder, and you can just add some sugar, especially khanda sharkara is useful because it is having shitavirya. So this can be given internally and it will help to check the leukorrhea and even metromenorrhagia. Okay, so this way you can use lodra in different formulations. Then chemical constituents, it is having mainly tannins are present because it is a kashaya rasa dravya. So the most important chemical constituent will be tannin. Apart from that, active constituents have been named as symposide, loturine, loturidine, and choloturine. These are the chemical constituents. Then coming to the research updates, symposide, one of the active principle present in lodra, it has showed anti-fibrinolytic activity. So fibrin is something which helps in blood clot. Fibrinolytic, the one which prevents the clotting of blood. So symposide is having anti-fibrinolytic activity. That means it is finally it is going to help in blood clotting. So if there is any bleeding occurring from your body, so this symposide which is present in lodra, it will help check the bleeding or stop the bleeding. Okay. Then glycosides present in lodra, they were isolated and tried on isolated rat ileum, and it was shown to be having spasmolytic activity. That is why whenever there is metromenorrhagia with lot of pain, back pain or abdominal pain, lodra with ashoka will help. Ashoka is vedana stapana dravya and it is also stambhana. Lodra is also stambhana, and lodra is also having spasmolytic activity. So usually during metromenorrhagia, the pain you get is due to spasms. The spasm of the or the contraction of the uterus, it will lead to spasm and the spasmodic pain will be felt. So since lodra is having spasmolytic activity, it will help decrease the pain. Then alpha spinasterol, it is another chemical constituent which is present in lodra, isolated from the bark, showed significant activity in carrageenan induced inflammation. Was the experiment wherein lodra was studied and it is having efficacy against acute inflammation. Then clinically, lodra has been proved to be very effective in the management of shweta pradara, leukorrhea, and rakta pradara, that is menorrhagia. Okay, so this has been also proven clinically. The efficacy of lodra in pradara roga, shweta pradara and rakta pradara, has been proven by many clinical studies also. Okay, so that completes today's topic. You are having any doubt? If anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. Are you preparing well for the exam? Second internals? Roll number 50. Roll number 50 from odd batch. Roll number 43.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you preparing well for the exam?
Yes, ma'am.
Just summarize regarding lavanga.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, its botanical name is Cesium aromaticum, and family is Myrtaceae. And
Myrtaceae.
yes, ma'am. And classical categorization, like they are not mentioned, ma'am. And it's specially used in like netra rogas, shwasa, kasa, chardi, and hikka, ma'am. And for externally used, it's like relieving pain. And it's used in for headache, it is used as a taila, ma'am, oil. Then its properties like rasa is tikta, katu, vira is shita, guna is lagu and snigdha, vipaka is katu, and
For headache,
doshagnata
lepa. Lavanga powder with jala is used as lepa. Taila is used for joint pain and vata pain due to vata. Okay.
Okay.
So instead of headache, it is used as lepa, not oil.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Continue.
Then karma is doshagnata is like kapha pitta hara. And karma it's specially used for deepana and pachana karmas and eye disorders.
Okay.
And indications like chardi, shula, hikka, then admanam.
Okay. Mute your phone. Next, roll number 44. Roll number 44. Forty-four. 44, are you there? Forty-six.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Are you preparing well for the exam?
Yes, ma'am.
Summarize regarding Lodra.
Ma'am, Lodra, the synonyms are Tilva, Kramukha, Tiritaha, and Marjana. Then botanical name is, its family is Simplosaceae, and Latin name is Simplocos racemosa. And coming to Ganavargikarana, it is mentioned by Charaka in Sandhaniya Varga and Purisha Sangraniya Varga and Shonita Sthapana Varga and Kashaya Kanda. And as it has Kashaya Rasa, it possesses Thambaka activity, karma. Then Shushruta, it is mentioned in Lodradi Gana and Nagrodadi Gana. Then morphology, ma'am, varieties by Shushruta and Vagbata, it is Shweta and Rakta varieties. And morphologies, it is a herb which with 6 feet in height, and leaves is 9 to 18 centimeter long with
Main
apex acute. Yes, ma'am.
indications of Lodra.
Ma'am, it is best in Rakta Pradara, Shweta Pradara, and Netra Rogas, and Rakta Pitta, Jwara, Trushna.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Mute.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
With this, we'll conclude today's class. So all of you study well and all the best for your second internals. So this is going to be in a different way. So be sincere with yourself, study well. This is a very good time for you to study. Okay. So be sincere, attend the internals, and hope we'll meet as soon as possible. Thank you.